So the US civics test is changing, and yeah, it's causing a ton of confusion for applicants. If you're sitting there wondering which test you're supposed to be studying for, don't worry. We're about to make it all crystal clear.
You're on this incredible journey to become a US citizen, which is amazing, but you've probably hit this confusing roadblock. Which civics test do I actually study for? The old one? The new one? It feels complicated, but trust me, it's not. Let's get you sorted out.
Here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle why there are even two tests floating around. Then, the most important part, figuring out which one is yours. After that, we'll put them head to head, show you how to study smart, not hard, and finish with a couple of crucial things you absolutely need to look out for.
Okay, let's dive right in. The whole reason for this confusion is pretty simple, actually. For right now, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, that's USCIS, is in a transition period. And that means they're actually giving out two different versions of the civics test at the same time.
On one side, you've got the classic, the 2008 civics test. This is the one that's been the standard for years. And on the other side, you have the new kid on the block, the updated 2025 civics test. Both are official, but who gets which one is what we're here to figure out. So that leads us to the million-dollar question, right? Which test is actually meant for you? Well, it all boils down to one and only one very important date. Now, listen up, because this is the most important thing you need to remember. It has absolutely nothing to do with your interview date. The only thing that matters is the date you officially filed your Form N-400. That's it. That one date is everything. And here it is, plain and simple. If you filed your application before October 20th, 2025, you're on the hook for the 2008 test. If you filed on or after that date, you'll be taking the new 2025 test. So go find your N-400 receipt notice. That date is your North Star. Okay, so now that you know which team you're on, let's break down how they actually stack up against each other. What should you really expect when you walk into that interview room? The 2008 test pulls from a study guide with a total of 100 possible civics questions, whereas the new 2025 test has expanded that list, so you'll be studying from a pool of 128 questions. And this chart really lays it all out. With the 2008 version, the officer will ask you up to 10 questions, and you need to get 6 right to pass. But with the 2025 version, they can ask you up to 20 questions, and you'll need to get 12 right. So the passing score is still 60%, but you've got to answer more questions correctly on the new test. All right, you've figured out your test, and you know the numbers. So let's talk strategy. How do you actually prepare for this oral exam in the most effective way possible?
This next point is straight from the horse's mouth, USCIS themselves, and it is so important. They basically say, look, we know there might be other correct answers out there, but this isn't a history debate. We want you to use the specific answers we've provided in the official study guides.
Let me show you a great study hack with an example from the test from the 2008. For some questions, you'll see they list more than one correct answer. So for this question, all 3 of these answers are technically correct, but trying to memorize every single possible answer for every question, that's just a recipe for disaster. So which one do you pick? The strategy is super simple. We'll call it the single simplest answer rule. For any question with multiple options, just find and memorize the shortest, easiest answer they give you. Remember, this is an oral test. You want something easy to say and recall. For our example, this is the golden ticket. Said that the United States is free. It's concise, it's correct, and it's easy to remember when you've got those interview nerves. Use this trick for every question, and I promise your study sessions will be way more efficient. We're in the home stretch. Let's just quickly cover 2 last crucial details that you have to watch out for. Seriously, getting these wrong can be the difference between passing and failing. First up, some of these answers are moving targets. They change because of elections. You have to know the name of the person who holds the office at the time of your interview, not when you filed your paperwork. And USCIS is not messing around with this. They say it flat out. If you name the former president or governor, that answer will be marked wrong. So always check the official USCIS website for the most up-to-date names right before your interview. Okay, last thing, there's a very important exception for some senior applicants. It's often called the 65-20 rule. Here's the deal. If at the exact time you file your N-400, you can say yes to both of these questions, then you qualify for this special consideration. And what does that mean? It means your study list just got a whole lot shorter. You only need to learn a specific list of 20 questions. You'll find them clearly marked with a little asterisk in the official USCIS study guides. So, what's the bottom line here? The confusion is over. Your single most important action right now is to go find your N400 filing date. That one date unlocks everything. It tells you which test to study for, and now you have a smart strategy to prepare with total confidence. So what's the first question you're going to study?